Wait till you hear this story. A good Samaritan steps in to break up a fight after a woman was being harassed on the subway and gets stabbed in the chest. Nate Rogers has the full story. Nate?
Bill, the situation could have been much worse. Fortunately, that Good Samaritan is still alive. Now, the man seen right here is accused of stabbing a 49-year-old man while on the F train Wednesday around 5 p.m. It happened right here near the Queens Boulevard, 75th Avenue subway station. Police say the suspect was harassing a woman on the train and the victim intervened. That's when the suspect allegedly stabbed the 49-year-old man in the chest and leg with a knife. The attacker immediately ran off the train and left the area.
This is the very reason why people do not get involved when stuff like this happens.
Now, police say it appears the woman did not know the suspect. News reports indicate the suspect is homeless, though police would not confirm. Regardless, Bill, it's something many of us have experienced, whether or not to speak up and aid a stranger. New Yorkers I spoke to have some very strong opinions about the issue.
If I see a woman getting abused or raped or something like that, I'm definitely on the scene. I'll smack the out of a guy.
I don't know what I would do in this situation. It would have to be until the situation arose. Then I would have to make the judgment call then.
At the end of the day, I have mothers and sisters too, and if anybody was to speak to them that way, I would, definitely step in.
Finally, Bill, psychologist Jeff Gardier says you never know the mental status of the person involved.
It's important that you let some sort of law enforcement person or someone of authority know what's going on. There's also safety in numbers, so maybe this is something that you don't need to do by yourself. Maybe you can get other individuals who are in the area to assist and to be able to de-escalate the situation.
Now, Bill, following the stabbing, the victim was rushed to the hospital. He's now at home recovering. Police are continuing to investigate this situation. In Queens, I'm Nate Rogers for Chasing News.
Thank you, Nate. All right, let's bring in our A-plus panel for tonight's show. We've got immigration attorney Afia Yunus. Good to see you, Afia.
You too, Bill.
Bill Caruso, lawyer and Democratic strategist, back with us.
Hey,
Good
Bill.
to see you, Bill. All right, Bill, start with you on this. Is it time to start talking to people about self-defense and training and maybe starting that at a young age? We seem like we've got a population that are totally ill-prepared to defend themselves.
Well, you start with this issue. There need to be more people in authority that are available to deal with this. And we do have a crisis in some respects. This is not the first time we've covered stories like this. So, where are whether it's law enforcement or other folks in authority that can help deal with this. Also, you have to deal with the reality that they're not always going to be there. And so I do think as an individual, you have to gut check. You've got to be prepared when you're out in public if something like this happens.
Part of me, obviously we don't know the whole story, so everything is subject to more facts coming out, but it seems to me, part of me emotionally, I say, good for this guy. You had a woman that was being berated by someone that you don't know if he was going to cause her harm or not. He stepped in and took a knife for her.
Yeah, I agree. And I put myself in her shoes. If I was on a public train and a man was accosting me or degrading me or whatever, I would hope that someone on the train would step in.
Yeah. Is that lost in today's society? Have lawyers ruined it for everyone? Because everyone gets sued now and people are so afraid. You hear of Good Samaritans getting themselves in trouble because they didn't do it exactly right because they weren't perfectly trained.
It's an issue, although I think those are aberrant cases. I still think it comes down to how you're raised and your moral character. I think most people, men, women, irrelevant, are going to intervene in circumstances like this where they see somebody that needs help. And I think that's the right way. I think that's the American way, and I think that's what goes on. Is
this partly due to the fact that we've erased gender roles and you don't have this sense of, we talked earlier off air about chivalry?
Yeah, and I would love to bring back chivalry. I think it needs to be reignited and it can have positive impacts on society.
I agree. All right, leave it there. Thanks.